Monday, April 13th, 2026. That's not big. Okay. Is this any better? I have to pay $50. So for you young people, that's a game where you go around the board and a chance card says you have to, never mind. So let's call the meeting of the Community-Oriented Policing Committee into session. It's Monday, May 13th, 2026, and it's 2:01 p.m. About if we call the roll.
Mayor Minto.
I'm here.
City Manager Wendy Kasserman.
Here.
Santee Chamber of Commerce. Lynn District.
Yes.
Sheriff's Department.
Yes.
Chamber of Commerce.
Yes. Yes.
Linda Roach.
Yes.
Dr. Mark Foreman.
Yes.
Motion carries with the voting members with one extension.
Thank you very much. I guess I should have probably asked, are there any speaker slips?
There were not any speaker slips.
Oh, great. Thank you. Nothing, Carl? Okay. So let's go to item number 3, which is an update on Neighborhood Watch and crime prevention.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. So currently, we do have one request to restart a Neighborhood Watch program, so I am working on coordinating that. I do want to take this moment to bring up a program that we have ongoing right now. It's called the Junior Women's Academy. It starts June 16th through the 18th. It's a free 3-day program for young women between the ages of 14 and 18 years old. And essentially, it gives them an opportunity to, and you can always contact the Santee station and I'll get you more information. But that's all for you, sir.
Well, I have a question about
Yeah.
that. Is that in conjunction with your Explorer or Cadet program? Or
It is different.
It is different?
Yeah, this one is specifically for young women.
Okay, cool.
And the Deputy Explorer program caters to both men and women.
All right.
Where's it being held? I think it was San Marcos last year.
Yes, it is at the Palomar College in San Marcos. And the nice part about getting registered early is that the Sheriff's Office offers pickup points throughout San Diego County. So if you don't have, if you can't give your kid a ride, then you can go ahead and by putting your location, they're able to kind of cater those pickup points a little closer, depending on the need.
Does a parent have to go?
No.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, great, thank you. That's kind of cool. All right, then, let's go to item number 4, which is calling for emergency services, calling and texting 911. Chris, are you doing that one?
I am.
Wow.
Yeah. Give it a shot. I just wanted to bring to light first, too, that the Sheriff's Office is changing its non-emergency number. It's already changed. The old number that you would call, 858-565-3200, still exists. However, they are really pushing to go to this new number because eventually that old number will not work. The new number is 858-868-3200. Again, 858, don't call 911 for a non-emergency. But getting to the 911, and I'll go over this slide pretty quick. I'm more interested in getting into the texting because that's something that some people may or may not know about. But when you do call, the biggest thing when you call 911 is knowing your location. It is not necessarily automatic that we know your location based on what you're calling from. And describing the emergency as to the point as you can is most important. Remaining calm, it's easier said than done in a stressful situation, but we definitely understand that. And speaking calm and slowly and getting that information from the dispatcher to that dispatcher is very important. The dispatcher is going to ask questions, so be prepared to answer those questions. They're important questions that need to be answered so that our deputies can respond quickly and safely to the incident that we're going to. Do not hang up unless you have to because it's not safe to stay on the phone. But we encourage you to stay on because additional questions might come up or you might be able to provide real-time updates as we're responding to the call. Next slide. Okay, so the texting. Now, this isn't for those that don't like to talk on the phone, the new generation. This doesn't replace that. We're not encouraging, text instead of call. It's always better to call. But texting is available. You just put in the 2-line 911 and then you put your message in there. This is for the deaf, the hard of hearing, nonverbal. If you have difficulty speaking, maybe you've been injured and you can't talk. You've been in a car accident or whatever it may be. This is where that situation is to text, or it's not safe to do so if speaking would give out your position and it would put you in danger. So this is again what that's for. It's not for just I don't like talking on the phone or the new generation where they like to text everything. So if you fall under that category and you need to text, it is available. It is out there. It's as simple as just texting 911. How it works, again, just enter it into the to field, give your location, give the nature of emergency, the same things that you would do if you were speaking on the phone. Send that text, and then the dispatcher will respond to you like a normal conversation on a text message. Next slide, I have a short video for you that kind of goes over this. I'll play that now.
One is now available in San Diego County.
911 emergency.
Calling 911 during an emergency is still the best way to get help. However, there are situations when texting may be the better option. If you are deaf, hard of hearing, nonverbal, or have difficulty speaking.
That's all right, James. The video just covers exactly what I just spoke about, so sorry about the technical difficulty.
We can send it to all of you.
And next slide. And then that is our website that has all the information on the texting. If you need to go to it, you can get it from our website. That's all.
That's it? Okay. Any comments from the public? Do you have anything, Carl? Mark?
Sound like the texting feature can really be useful. Now I'm curious, say a communication gets started up between somebody in the community and then wherever these land, and they say, well, do you have a photo of the car? Can you send us a photo? Can that be done, or is it going to be strictly text at this point?
My understanding, anything that go over the text can come over that system. So if you can send a photo, yes, I think it can come through.
Yeah, that actually is something that's very handy, because a lot of people will take a picture of like some car that's driving erratically or something, and that's a perfect example. You get a picture of their license plate number, send that off. Yeah,
That's definitely an option.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Can we revisit Mark's question? Because at the beginning of your little thing, it said that you can't send photos or something else. So I am curious about whether or not you can for sure.
We can go back to it. I think the technology is there for them to accept it. It's just not, it's just, again, not recommended because it's not going to be able to get out to the deputies at that time. Oh, gotcha. Photos and videos. Yeah, photos and videos. Yeah, it's not meant for it. Again, if you did it, it's going to be there, but it's not meant for it. It's meant to get the 911, the information out. That could be memorialized later. That's why they're not encouraging it.
And it's English only?
Yes, for now.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking like my old career. 911 pretty much is nationwide. Is this get routed through CHP first and then routed to sheriffs, or does it go to the right jurisdiction?
Yeah, based on your caller, it will go to the right jurisdiction. If it does go to, based on where it's receiving that cell, if it does go to a different agency, they'll still handle the 911 call and then eventually transfer it.
All right, that goes to item number 5, which is near and dear to so many folks, and that's the e-bike and
I'm excited about this one. There's first knowing the difference between an e-bike and an e-moto, because sometimes having the knowledge is important out there, and it gets misrepresented and it gets confused. So it's very obvious what the difference is with these. You have your e-bike here on the right. It looks like a bicycle. It's got pedals. There's a very easy to identify. Without getting into the weeds too much, there are different classes of e-bikes. And these e-bikes, the different classes just mean their speed, their capabilities, how fast they can go, and the requirements. This current slide that you see reflects the current Santee ordinance that they enacted with the $25 fine. And mainly what that ordinance did was it just doesn't want kids under the age of 12 riding these e-bikes around. Having that ability to go 20 miles an hour with the push of a button, basically, for an 11-year-old or 10-year-old probably isn't a smart idea, and I think it is a safety issue, and that's why the city enacted that. But you just go through your regular laws here with an e-bike, and you can see from the bicycle on the left, top left, all the way up to the Class 3, they all go about 20 miles an hour. The Class 3 is a little bit different. It goes 28 miles an hour. And again, that one, you'd have to be a minimum age of 16. Under 18, they all require helmets. For the Class 3, that requires a helmet for everyone. Getting into what is a bigger problem is the e-motos. I think a picture is worth 1,000 words. That does not look like a bicycle. That looks like a dirt bike. Any type of dirt bike that you would normally see out there. That's what these e-motos are. That's where they are full motor power. There's no pedals on them. Sometimes they make kits to put pedals on them, but they do nothing. They're just for deception. Much higher speeds. These bikes can go typically from 30 to 60 miles an hour, unmodified. They are only approved for off-road highway use. They are not street legal in any way, shape, or form based on how they come from the factories. You need a valid motorcycle license to ride one. You need registration and insurance if you were to try to ride them on the street legally. There are only a few of these bikes that come from the manufacturer, Department of Transportation, with the correct safety features on them that would even allow the DMV to register them. Most of these manufacturers don't meet those DOT requirements. So when people actually try to even put the street legal kits on them, a typical motorcycle license, and then you would be able to actually operate them just like a moped or a regular gas-powered motorcycle. They're not to be on the street ridden by juveniles mostly with our traffic. So I just wanted to make that clear to everyone. So what's the problem? Well, again, the e-bike riders, they're not, for the e-bikes, going back to those, they're not following the basic rules of bicycle rules of the roadways, okay? That's one of the problems. Another one is our e-motos mixing with our vehicle traffic at 40, 50 miles an hour at freeway, almost freeway speed. On these slides, designated to increase the awareness and legal requirements of safe operation practices. We issued about 12 citations for no license, no registration, no insurance, and no helmets. Additionally, 10 e-motorcycles, not bicycles, 10 e-motos were impounded. So fines associated with these violations can be upwards of about $1,400, and that doesn't include the impound fee. I think a picture's worth 1,000 words when you see your e-motorcycle being towed away on a tow truck. I could send a big message. And since then, the ripple effect on social media, these kids spreading the word, the parents spreading the words through their social media outlets, we've seen a reduction in calls for service, accidents, and illegal activity. And open up to any questions.
Questions, anyone? Yes.
So like most of America, I witnessed a couple of kids riding these e-bikes. When is it legal, if it is at all, for you to drive down the street standing on your seat or popping wheelies or that kind of behavior?
Sure. So on a bicycle, it's not illegal to do a wheelie. It's not illegal to stand on your seat, as long as you're following the rules of the road in a, parking, like in your parking lot, or you're in a bicycle lane and you want to do a wheelie. It's not against the law to do a wheelie on your bicycle. Okay. Now, having an e-bike, you got a bicycle with a little electric assistance for what it is. But again, they do have to follow the rules of the road. if you're on your bicycle, those e-bikes or e-motos, but if you say a e-bike goes into the roadway and is starting to do a wheelie or interfering with traffic, that's against the law. That's when it becomes against the law. But if they're riding in parking lots and doing a wheelie, like maybe a kid wants to do, that's not necessarily illegal even in of itself. But it's basically, it would be where, just like if it was a motorcycle being driven in the street, and we've all seen maybe a motorcycle pop a wheelie, that would be some type of reckless driving. He or she has to follow the rules of the road. Same with a bicycle or an e-bike. Forget the e-motos because that's a different class, right? But your e-bicycle, which is not illegal for a juvenile to have or an adult to have, a lot of adults have, can ride their bicycles within the rules of the road. And so, like I said, if they were in a parking lot doing a wheelie, that wouldn't be. But if you're driving down the street and they're in the middle of the street, they can't be in the street, so that would be a violation of itself. They got to be in that bike lane, just like they got to be off sidewalks, things of that nature.
I got to tell you, though, that generally an e-bike is not the one you see popping the wheelie. It's the e-motos. Like I ride one, and I don't know how somebody would get the front end off the ground with an e-bicycle.
Correct. I have an e-bike, and I cannot do a wheelie like we've been describing with it. It doesn't have the power, the capabilities of an e-moto.
Yeah.
These are to help you get up a hill, take a little load off of you while you're riding. You could ride longer distances, things of that nature. In the hands of kids, they're going to do whatever they can try to do with them, of course, and they'll try to do a wheelie with them. But it's like the mayor said, it's the e-motos that you're seeing ripping down the streets.
It was not the mayor that I saw. And, again, it's terrifying. Because this kid is going to be someone's hood ornament.
Yes.
And so you're watching this happen. I considered calling, but, I don't know what the chances are of them being, by the time sheriff responds, they're pretty much 4 or 5 miles down the road. So, is it really worth trying to make an effort to call someone?
The answer to the question is yes. And I'll say this with anything, any comment from the public about should I call? If you have the thought to call, call. Now, we may be, because you may save a life. You really may. You're right. We may be across town dealing with a serious incident and there's no one available to respond to that call. We also happen to be Johnny on the spot, parked at the corner or just down the street in your direction of travel, and you call it in, and we are there, and we make that enforcement stop on what you've reported. And we say, like you said, that kid is going to be a hood ornament or is going to, I don't want to call a parent and tell them their kid is dead. That'd be the worst thing we'd have to do. And that's what we're trying to avoid through the education, the enforcement, things of that nature. But absolutely, I've told Carl this, call when you see it. Is it worth it? Yes. Not every time are we going to be Johnny on the spot, but it's the time that we save the life. So it's always worth it. If you see that reckless behavior, call.
An important part of that, too, though, is even if they can't respond, if you're getting a call at the same time of day from different people, well, you know what? We know where to be looking for them in that next special enforcement detail. So, Mark?
It's taking me back to the 70s when I had my first motorcycle. It's an exciting time for a youngster to be out there and getting one of these things and tooling around the neighborhood. My question, though, is are you getting feedback from some of the deputies that are doing the enforcement on how the parents are receiving the enforcement?
Yeah.
Junior gets a ticket and goes home and tells mom and dad or whatever, because parenting's changed certainly over the last 50 years. But when I got my ticket at 15 and a half and no license, it was more of a problem with my mom than it was with the court. So sometimes it sounds like you're doing some parent education and on these selected programs and everything. So I'm just kind of curious of how the parents are receptive when the kids do get their tickets, or even if it's not a ticket, it's just a warning and a kind of a verbal thing.
Yeah. Great question. So out of that detail, surprisingly, most parents didn't know. They did not know the rules. So they were happy to get the rules. Now, the ones that got the enforcement with the ticket and the tow, the few that I saw came up were the I told you so. I told you if they got it, you were gonna get it. and I'm not getting the bike out of impound. So in our experience, the parents were fairly cooperative with us and on our side of, they knew it was a matter of time. I don't know if the bills have come through yet, the fines, but we'll see. But yeah, they were, for the most part, on our side, from what I can tell, and, didn't defend the juvenile.
Well, there should have been a follow-up question there somewhere, like, so where'd you get the motorcycle?
They were, and, yep, they bought them. They bought them for him, presents. Christmas, yeah.
And that's the issue,
Yep.
in my opinion. So. I got mine. Anybody else? Linda?
Ma'am.
Actually, I have a question too. One of the things that I see frequently, particularly with youth, is that I don't know if they've added an adaptation to the hub of their wheels or what, but there are posts that come out and they'll be giving somebody a piggyback ride, if you will, on the bike. So you have the one handling the handlebars, they're seated, but the other ones are resting their hands on their shoulders and standing up on these posts. So in that, I believe I saw something in your presentation that indicated no passengers unless the bike is specifically designed for that. For example, you have a baby seat or something on the bike.
Yeah, you're talking about the old, when I had a kid, we had their foot pegs. They replaced
foot pegs.
the nuts, and they're like maybe 3 inches wide. And yeah, so we would give friends rides on them and things.
Right.
But yeah, with the e-bikes, in order for there to be legally a passenger, there are e-bikes that have dual seats and that can have a passenger on them. They have to be equipped with it. Riding on the handlebars or piggyback riding, and that's illegal.
Anybody else? Yeah.
I was just wondering, like, because you have the education campaign that's specifically, geared towards e-bike rider safety, but geared towards people on the bikes. I was wondering if there's anything kind of vice versa, more for the drivers, because something that I've been thinking about is like, I remember when I learned how to ride a bike on the road, how to hand signal and all of that sort of stuff. But then I don't think I even learned that as a driver in driver's ed, like what the hand signal. So it's like if the bikes know how to signal, but the cars don't know like what the bike rules are, like that sort of thing. So I was just wondering if driver's ed, like around here, do we know if they cover like how to navigate sharing the road with bikes? Because I don't think that's something that I had, but I was wondering if there might be education that could go in that direction too. So it kind of goes both ways.
I think that's all covered in just having his son recently going through driver's training and driver's ed and getting his license, ticket-free so far, accident-free so far. That I remember that's all covered in the driver's handbooks for that, for the driver side of the house. It's covered. And then, operating with the bikes, again, the bikes aren't really supposed to be in the street. They should be in the designated bike lanes. So it should be all covered in the DMV handbook.
Also, having a 16-year-old who just got her license, she actually had to demonstrate the hand signals before they started her driver's test.
That's correct.
So that's why I was curious. So.
Thank you, Wendy. That's correct.
So it's kind of interesting. I made a note here because, Chris, you said bicycles ridden by juveniles, or actually e-motors or whatever, don't necessarily make good decisions. And my comment was, how about the adults not making good decisions also? First of all, buying the bicycles for their kids. And we see, because I'm on the street so much, and I know you're right, Chris, I see a lot of adults that violate the same rules. And sometimes I think they're even more dangerous than the kids are. And the reason why is because they will just make a turn in front of a car just to go across the street instead of waiting to a corner to make getting in the right lane and everything. So I think we have an awful lot of adult offenders out there also, and we should probably be addressing that because, when kids see adults doing it, it's okay for me to do it. They did it, right? And then So there hasn't been any mention of it, but there's an Assembly Bill 1557 that has been introduced by Assemblymember Pappen, and it's to reduce all electrical bicycles to a 250 watt motor. And the idea behind that is so that it will never go over, I think, 20 miles an hour, where nowadays you have a 350 and a 750 that will go 21 miles per hour. And for me, it's an issue, and they're also talking about maybe applying that to electric wheelchairs, which I find crazy because when you start, those can all be, so one of the other things is that you might want to check sometimes the electronics on it because the electrical controller is designed for only to go up to 20 miles an hour so that it is a typical Class 2 bike. But a lot of these folks are modifying those to allow them to go up to 28 miles an hour. And generally, they don't go any faster than that, even with the 750 watt motor. So, but the idea is like, I'm a big boy and I carry a lot of stuff on my bike. And if I had to go to a 250 watt motor, I might as well never ride a bike again because, for instance, I'd never be able to go up a hill. And, my wife's a lot smaller. She uses that throttle to go up a hill and leaves me in the dust. And I can't do that. So there's a lot of controversy over that one. So it's really about the speed, not the ability to carry a load. And so they need to control those better with the electronics versus the engines. Just like the engine you have in your car now. You can go 150 miles an hour if you want, but you're not allowed to. So. So those are some of the things down the pike you'll probably be hearing about a little bit later on. And by the way, the fine on having anything prior to the implement of that date is legal. It's all grandfathered in. But if you find somebody that buys a, let's say, 350 or 500 or 700 watt e-bike after if that becomes law, the fine goes between $15,000 and $50,000. A little bit steep, but you know what? It's going to solve that issue, wouldn't it? So, but yeah, I can't imagine a 15-year-old on one of those and getting a $50,000 fine.
To address your comment, yeah, I agree with you with the adults as well, and they're just held just as accountable, other than the helmet rule.
Yeah.
But rules of the road.
Yeah. Well,
I've got another question. You didn't mention scooters, but I've seen some scooters that seem like they have a lot of electric power to them, predominantly with adults riding them, almost like they're using them as transportation, yet doing just as wonky stuff, doing wheelies down the road, et cetera. Are the scooters included in this type of enforcement, or is that just a whole separate category?
I can take part of it if you want to take part of it. So the reason the council adopted what they did relative to e-bikes is there was legislation that it was actually specific to San Diego County that gave us the ability to regulate on e-bikes only. We didn't tackle scooters. So the sheriff probably has a different response in terms of enforcement, but the action that council took, we acted within the scope of what we could, and we were unique even to other counties in the state because it was a pilot program for San Diego County.
And with regard to the scooters, they are addressed on our public safety website that goes over the scooters, the bikes, and things of that nature. Again, they're held to the same rule accountability. With the wattage with those and things of that nature, I'm not as familiar with those and their speeds, but they'd be governed to the same speeds at the e-bikes and the rules of the road when it comes to those. They make one-wheel ones. They make all kinds of contraptions these days. It's hard to keep up. And that was one of the problems is these options came out and before the laws came out. And so, unfortunately, that created a lot of free willy-nilliness. And now the laws have caught up. And so now you're trying to backtrack and tailor it down. So it's going to take some time to correct the behavior, educate, enforcement, and you'll see it start to decrease over time.
Might as well write the law to include hovercrafts, right?
Probably.
Captain, can I actually jump in? I do have the electric scooter flyer that we have on our website. So registration for electric scooters is not required, neither is insurance. Helmet, however, are required for riders under 18 years old, and the speed limit is a max of 15 miles per hour. In addition to road use, sidewalk riding is prohibited, and for road use, it's only allowed on roads less than 25 miles per hour or in bike lanes. And I can provide everyone with flyers on all of this next week as well, so you can have physical copies.
Sounds great.
So it sounds like the same amount, except 15 miles an hour instead of 20, same rules.
You know, I've seen some of those things. They look like they're going 30 miles an hour. And that's just an accident waiting to happen. Holy moly. So, and even on the trails, like Walker Preserve, for instance, I've seen guys on those e-bikes out there, and e-motos, I should say, and they're 30 miles an hour, and you got people jogging and walking dogs, and I'm surprised that some of those guys haven't had real accidents out there. So, but anyways.
Related to that, we are working on an amendment to our MOU with the sheriff's office to put some trail cams out at trails. So we will have cameras out there. They'll be recording, and they'll be an additional tool for the sheriff's department to use, not just for e-motos, but others who are doing things they shouldn't be doing on the trails.
Sure, great. Well, that's a great presentation. I know that when I heard about the bikes being impounded, I thought that was kind of cool because that is the best way of sending a message. You know, the pocketbook kind of gains compliance. So, and I'm sure some other people probably enjoyed hearing about that too. So, thanks a lot. Okay, let's go on here before we run out of time. So, let's go to item number 6 is community core values. Any updates?
I don't have any updates today.
Any updates down there? Okay, great. Thank you. Communication from committee and staff members. Let's go to the committee first. I'm going to start all the way down here with Amanda.
As far as updates for the Santee Street Fair, we're working closely with the city, and thank you, Wendy, for your extended support to make sure that we are fully compliant with the city's requirements, and we look forward to seeing all of you May 23rd, coming up weekend of Memorial Day. Other than that, the flyers that were mentioned, if we can touch base after, we do have our newsletter that goes out to about 6,000 organically subscribed members throughout our community that look to it kind of as their one-stop shop for all information when it comes to community outreach opportunities and safety measures. So I wrote down the websites, but if there's any flyers on behalf of anybody in the committee that you would think would be valuable for your community to read, please send that to the info@santeechamber.com. Our newsletter goes out every Thursday morning, and we touch all bases of economy, business resources, safety, wellness, upcoming events. Anything that's important to you is important to us. That's all. Thank you.
Hi, this is Rebecca Brandstetter with the Casa Neighborhoods and the East County Homeless Task Force. I wanted to let you know that this is my last one with you. I'm going to retire, and it's just been a pleasure to get to know this community and the good folks doing good work here. And thanks for letting me sit with you. It's been a joy. I wanted to let you know about a couple of things that are coming up that will affect the community. There's been a changes to eligibility for CalFresh, and some of that has to do with some people who don't have legal status will no longer be eligible for CalFresh, and so that may mean that our community food pantries will see a little more demand. And I just encourage you to support local food pantries, encourage your community organizations to open up to help some people stay fed who will be looking at hunger. Along those lines, there will be some community feeding opportunities that probably won't be happening through the Santee schools, but the Santee schools will have information about summer meals for children ages 0 to 18. As soon as I find out about that, I will let you know. I will let you know.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just encourage you to help people take advantage of that. If anybody is remotely eligible for CalFresh, the way prices are going up, help them find a way to sign up for that, because that'll help ease some of the pressure on our community food pantries. And I've got information about the EC Assist website in Espanol, in English, and I'm not going to try to say Arabic in Arabic, but I've got that. And I'll leave some of that out there. So happy summer, everybody, and thanks for the memories. It's been great working with you.
Thank you very much for your participation here. Hearing what's going on out there is one of our goals, because obviously our law enforcement and folks can't be everywhere. That's why we're all here together to talk about these issues. So thank you. Linda.
I just have a second reminder of the upcoming Santee Pride Festival and Pride Walk that's going to be held the last Saturday in May, starting at the location of the Santee United Methodist Church.
Great, thank you. Ed?
Rebecca, do they have a replacement? I can't imagine finding one, but have they identified someone that might be taking your place yet, or?
Not yet. I'm just trying to keep my footprint big while I can. But we've got some folks who are going to be coming to COMPOC, because it's an important thing for the work that we do with youth and the work we do with the homeless population. So we'll be here. We'll be here.
Enjoy your retirement. I'm enjoying mine.
Mark? Mike? Thanks for being here. Wendy?
I don't have anything, but I asked the captain to touch on something.
Well, not his turn yet.
Well, I'm just looking, so he can talk about it when it does get to it.
Eileen?
We don't have any events or anything like that, and this isn't specific to Santee, but nearby in La Mesa, we are doing 2 naloxone access points monthly now. So we have naloxone and phenyl test strips that are available for free at the library. So we'll start, La Mesa Library is going to be the first Wednesday of every month, and we do it from 2 to 4, or 2 to 4:30. And the Grossmont Health and Wellness Library, we do Thursdays, first Thursday of the month, 10 to 1 p.m. So I just want to let people know it's obviously not right here in Santee, but it's not too far. And so if people know folks that need that, we'll be distributing it. So
Great, thank you. Captain, your turn.
Wendy, remind me, please.
There you go.
I think we can agendize it for the next one too, but can you touch on the calls for service log? I know you and I have had a lot of discussions about what it is and what it isn't, if
Very
people
good.
are seeing that posted online.
Thank you. Sorry, we had a lot of discussions today.
Sorry.
That's okay. So like what Wendy's referring to on our website is you can get the real-time calls for service, the logs. There's certain calls that are not put in there, but majority of them are. So you could know in real time what the calls are coming in as, and what the deputies are responding to. One call in particular that gets put out there is a bomb call, or it's a code explosive device. And so people see that, first thing that comes to mind is you're thinking a big bomb or something of that nature. But an explosive device or device, typically what it is if someone will report something suspicious. And that could be, we had one at our station, it was a backpack. Just simply a backpack. Doesn't need to mean that there's wires coming out of it and it's going tick, 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 or anything like that. It could be just any suspicious package that somebody will call in that they find left unattended typically. And we have a certain protocol that we respond to when it comes to that. But unfortunately what happens is people start to expand that and maybe blow it out of proportion. But typically it is not a bomb or anything of that nature. It's a suspicious device, but we will go through the protocol of having our bomb arson team come out and taking custody of that device in some way, shape, or fashion in a safe manner. But yes, so some of those calls that do come out, other calls too, they might come out as a robbery, they might come out as assault with a deadly weapon. I think we had an assault with a deadly weapon the other day, and it ended up being somebody actually just broke a coffee mug in a store. So what the call comes out to is limited to what the person calling it in says is happening. But oftentimes, and the deputies will back me up on this, when we respond and get to the call, it's something completely different than what it's titled on that public website in that CAD report. So what it says there is not necessarily what it is.
And you guys don't go back after the fact and do any type of nor do I expect you to, but for clarity.
For clarity, yes, it doesn't get recorrected or changed at a later date on that website. Welcome.
Okay, great, thanks. Anything? Anything else? James? Carl? You have anything for us? How about you guys in the background? Did he get anything right?
Everything 100% right.
Oh, there you go. Those are good guys to have on your team. They can back you up like that. If I was one of them, I'd say nothing right. Thanks, guys. So for people that can't see, we got a couple good-looking deputies sitting in the background having their bosses back. Okay, let's see. So we handled the communication from committee and staff, communication from public. So let's say at 2:46, meeting is adjourned.